Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on today's webinar. I promise to keep it to 20 minutes max. It seems to be a bit of a theme, and the feedback says that that is one of the desirable features of our educational series. For those of you who have not caught on to the trend, we have been scheduling these for the last Thursday of each month. So if you missed the invite, or if it got spammed out, or if you're just curious what's coming up, go to maxlite.com and you'll see what the next webinar is all about. Today we're going to focus on luminaires and the different ways that people are marketing their specifications of their luminaires. What's real and what's not. We'll break it down a little bit of LED basics with traditional light sources comparison, some terms that you should know, and that's really the crux of it, including power factor, lumens versus lumens, that'll make more sense later, and some places where you can get more information and more details on these subjects. I'm not going to spend too much time on how an LED works, but the main point here is to come away with the fact that a LED is really integral to a fixture, unlike a traditional light source, which can be moved from one fixture to the next. For more information really on how LEDs work, and that really changes quickly as today they're growing things to make LEDs. It's quite interesting, but Google LEDs, how do they work? If you want to be more specific, white power LEDs, how do they work? And there's some very interesting information. As I see here our group, our audience today of about 100 people, thank you all for spending your time with us, by the way. We do appreciate it, and we know that your time is valuable, and our goal is to make this worth your time. I think based on who I'm seeing is here in front of me, the basics of traditional light sources are well known. Again, what you need to take away is that LEDs are integral to the fixture, and it's a one-piece unit, and you cannot move individual LEDs from one fixture to the next fixture. Now here's the meat of our presentation today, some terms that you really need to understand. I've got some issues coming from the field almost every day where people misunderstand literature and say, oh, your fixture dies at 50,000 hours. Let's talk about how we define life for LED versus traditional light sources. Real quick background on traditional light sources. The life is measured very simply in about half the world, where we light up 100 bulbs. When the 51st one fails, you round it off, and that's the stated life. That's been an industry standard for over 100 years. So a CFL, you burn 100 of them. When the 51st one fails, you round off those hours. It's an 8, it's a 10, it's a 12,000 hour bulb. Same for incandescent, HID, so on and so forth. The other half of the world, they burn 100 lamps. This is basically an Asian spec, Japanese spec. They burn 100 lamps. They read and record the total collective lumen output of that 100 lamp and array. When that depreciates to 50% is how they rate the life, which I think is a more accurate way, frankly speaking, because not only do they capture the failures, the outright bulbs that fail to work altogether, but it captures lumen depreciation. A brief translation is a 6,000 hour bulb in Japan is a 10,000 hour bulb in the United States. But for LEDs, all that goes out the window, because when everything is done properly, they actually don't fail to illuminate. You can take even some old LED technologies after 70, 80, 100,000 hours, bring them in a dark room with an eye loupe, and you could see a twinkle out of them, technically illuminated, but nothing useful coming out of it. So a new way to measure the life had to be developed, and the answer is L70. What it's determined is it's generally accepted that 30% depreciation of original light level is where the fixture is no longer useful. I happen to know that there are large, very green Fortune 100 companies out there where they have their own standards like L60. They feel that when the fixtures have depreciated by 40%, it's time to replace them. So what you need to understand with LED is it's not just a number of hours that this product lasts, but what happens at that number of hours. So if somebody says it's a 50 or a 25 or a 60,000 hour LED product, one has to ask, what happens? Is it L50? Is it L70? They're not giving you the actual life if we're just saying the number of hours. So remember, with LED life, you need to combine the L number, the depreciation number, as well as the life claim. Here's just a very quick illustration of that. No particular product here, but as an example with MaxLite, we have fixtures that are 50,000 L70, meaning that the lumens will have depreciated no more than 30% at 50,000 hours. Our life curves show that some of these products are 90 and 100,000 hour products with L55 and L60, and at that 80 to 100,000 hour point, the weak link becomes the driver itself. We could talk more about that on another day. Some of the terms that you should understand. LM79 and LM80, I'll speak about them in reverse. LM80 is a third-party verified LED chip that has a set of thermal and lumen and other criteria. And basically, when the LED manufacturer, the chip maker themselves, is marketing the product, the backup that what they say about their product is true is the third-party LM80 testing data. I'll speak for MaxLite here and many product managers across the industry. We will only design commercial products with LEDs that have already been LM80 tested. So we know what we're getting when we buy them, and that's been verified. Now, LM79, on the other hand, is more for the luminaire manufacturers such as MaxLite. In other words, LM79 is a third-party verification that the luminaire that we've designed with those LM80 chips doesn't negatively impact the design of those chips. So if LM80 says that this chip is, just for simple math, 100 lumens at 1 watt, and at a certain temperature, my LM79 third-party data testing is going to verify that we haven't misappropriated the LED, we haven't misused it by putting it in bad thermal conditions to where it can't live up to its LM80 specifications. So LM80 is for the LED itself, LM79 is for the luminaire, and one of the things that, especially you distributors, I feel like I'm a kindred spirit to you, C&I distributors. I've worked with hundreds of you through the years. You guys know your stuff. It's always a pleasure speaking with people who know lighting. And, well, you have all kinds of people walking in the door every day offering you LED products, say outdoor lighting fixtures as an example. One fixture is $200, the other fixture is $99. On paper, they look pretty similar. These are the questions we're trying to arm you with to start separating or weeding out the weaker products that are, not living up to or can't back up the marketing data or the specifications of that product. So ask right away if the fixture has been LM79 approved using LM80 chips, and then you'll see how much of what you're considering is really not worthy of your customers' dollars. Something else that's very important, it's particularly important to those of us with an energy efficient focus on our business, and these days everyone has at least a portion of their business focused on green and energy efficient initiatives, and that's power factor. And I think we all know and understand what power factor is, but I understand we have some end users and facility managers who have joined us today, and a little bit about power factor to express it. Discharge lamps such as fluorescents, I'm comfortable talking about fluorescents, so I'll use that as an example. They all require a ballast, or also known as a choke or a transformer, for them to operate properly. It's inherent in high pressure sodium, mercury vapor, fluorescent, and so on. These devices are inductive by nature. So when a discharge lamp like a fluorescent is switched on, it draws apparent power from the mains, from the circuits. The apparent power actually has two components. One is active power, which is the actual power being consumed for the lamp that is illuminating, and the other is reactive power, which is feeding the electromagnetic circuit or the control gear and the like. The power factor is the ratio of active power and apparent power. Now, you don't have to walk away totally understanding that, but do understand that incandescent, the very first electric appliance, is a perfect power factor of 1.0. The ratio of active and apparent power brings it to perfect power factor. The higher the power factor, the more efficient and the truly more energy efficient the product is. Now, many of you have heard of power factor because there's a lot of, or have been a lot of, rebate and initiatives for high power factor products, including lighting, that has gone in and out of popularity through the years. But the reason that the power company wants you to have high power factor products and high power factor appliances is because it costs them less to provide you with the power when it is a perfect or a high power factor than when it is a nominal or a low power factor. These days we have no devices that are low power factor. CFLs might surprise you to know that are only a 0.5 or a nominal power factor, which is very interesting because, well, the power companies are the ones who are providing them for the most part and bringing them to market, and whereas they are also the ones who have to pay more to watt for watt or active power ratio to apparent power. Now, we all know that high power factor is the preferred, but did you know that there are different types of high power factor? There are different ways to correct the power factor. Passive power factor correction is the most common, I'm sure. Basically, it uses a capacitive filter at the AC and it corrects the poor power factor. But passive power factor is affected by, well, everything. It's affected by fluctuations in voltage. It needs to be manually set. So in other words, if you have a passive power factor circuit in your LED fixture and it's manually set for, say, 120 volts, when the voltage is, might drop down to 115, 110, 108, or goes up to as high as 132, your power factor is actually fluctuating as well. Active power factor correction is preferable. It is true energy efficiency. Since it provides a more efficient power frequency, because active power factor causes a circuit to correct power factor, active power factor is able to generate a theoretical power factor of over 95%, very close to that perfect incandescent 1 power factor. 0.95 is excellent. Active power correction also markedly diminishes the total harmonics. Harmonic distortion is another issue, and active power factor pretty much eliminates that as an issue. And it automatically corrects for AC input fluctuations, which is normal. Certainly, for the most part, active power factor correction products are also dimmable. So there's a lot of advantages, particularly to the utilities, for active power factor correction. And I urge you to make sure, a lot of LED fixtures out there don't even mention the power factor. You can be sure that those are only nominal power factor. But ask that question. Certainly your utility company would prefer this as well. And I don't mean to be alarmist, but I have heard 2 unconfirmed reports, one in Alabama, one in Southern California. Maybe somebody who can confirm these things can pipe in and let the rest of us know. But I have heard that currently, at this moment, they are installing new meters on commercial and residences that read power factor, and for low power factor or even in some cases nominal power factor are charging a 100% penalty. So in other words, they are charging you for power factor going forward. You may not have been hit with this yet, but it's certainly coming in the future. And again, if anyone can confirm in your local areas if power factor meters, also known as smart meters, are being installed yet, or if it's planned for your area. I'm sure the rest of us would love to have that information. So power factor, very important. Look for active power factor, high power factor LED products. Otherwise, they're not as efficient as they otherwise could be, and certainly otherwise they are in danger of being affected by voltage fluctuations, brownouts, blackouts, and everyday fluctuations. Lumens versus lumens. Somebody mentioned that that's an odd heading, but in the old days, which was not that long ago, when we talked about lumens coming out of a luminaire, whether it be fluorescent, HID, for high bay applications, outdoor, indoor, you name it, we were all kind of on the same page. But there are always those who will take advantage of new technologies, and I want to share with you a little bit of what's going on out there. And it's not just the little guys. There's some big organizations that are blatantly misleading you. They're not copper, but it's something similar to that. And what they're doing, and what many are doing out there, and you have to be very careful, is they are taking, I'll use simple math again, 1 watt chips, 100 lumens each. That's 1,000 lumens when I put 10 of them in a fixture. So they put 10 of them in a fixture, and then they tell you the lumens of that fixture is 1,000 lumens. Now, you and I know that there are things such as thermal degradation, optics like the lensing and the reflectors, And there are things like luminaire light loss factor, which is the amount of light that actually never comes out of the fixture but kind of bounces around. All of those are relevant. And what you might find is that the effective delivered lumens, the photometric of where the light goes and how it goes and the concentration of that light, is only 600 lumens or 650 lumens. Now, those of us who are following the Department of Energy guidelines, those who are using the lighting facts label, we will only state the effective delivered lumens. If you want the total collective lumens, we'll be happy to work with you on that, if that helps you in your area. If you want the traditional photometric lumens, the effective delivered lumens, that's what you will find on our literature. And you need to ask those questions when you're looking at other people's. Efficacy for these types of fixtures these days are ranging from 45, 50 lumens per watt all the way up to 90 lumens per watt. So, effective delivered lumens is vital to know, if 30% of the lumens are never leaving the fixture for whatever reason, you certainly can't count that as part of your lumens per square foot and the like. And to know all of these terms, such as LM70, 79, LM80, LM80, we urge you to go to the following website. I know it's not a quick, catchy little LED.com, but you'll get a copy of this as a participant in our webinar, and you can certainly take it from there. Become a partner, get on the mailing lists. This is just a screenshot of that website. This happens to be, it looks like yesterday, because it changes very frequently. There's some great information right here. SSL quality advocates, as distributors, facility managers, as people following the trends, certainly want to click there, learn some more. The caliper program, we can have a 20-minute max webinar on the caliper program. Basically, it's pulling products off the street. It's third-party laboratory testing it. Your tax dollars are paying for this, folks. You might as well know what's going on. And then comparing the actual results to the manufacturer's specifications. FYI, there are many factories who are overstating on their marketing materials, and caliper is where you can find that. By the way, MaxLite has had the flat panel 2x2 tested, and they found that our marketing materials and the third-party lab results were one and the same. We're very proud of that. If anything, we are going to be conservative in our specifications. Also, the lighting facts. Lighting facts is also a part of the DOE initiatives. Lighting facts says that this product has been third-party verified, and here are the actual results from that third-party testing. MaxLite is proud to say that all of our LED products are going through or have been through the lighting facts process. Now, this particular product has an efficacy of 80. Another brand, it might have for a similar product an efficacy of 40. In other words, lighting facts doesn't say that this is a superior or inferior product. It just says that here are the honest-to-goodness specifications that have been verified by a set of third-party laboratories. So lighting facts in itself means it's been tested, but look closely at the efficacy, the total lumen output, the color, and all the other things that are important for the real details. Here's a snapshot of the Lighting Facts webpage. I urge you to go ahead, join. Even if you're a distributor and you don't have any products, the partners are not limited to just manufacturers, but it gets you on the list of what's going on, the brand, why it's important to you and to our industry. Now here, we kind of as a reflex bring up Energy Star. Energy Star has been a leader in the energy efficient lighting initiatives for over a decade now. But frankly, on some LED categories, they're a little bit behind. In other words, there is no specification yet. They do have it for some of the retrofit or screw-in type products, but as far as outdoor lighting and a lot of indoor lighting categories, Energy Star is not there. For your reference, there is the DLC, which for those of you who are not familiar, that's the Lighting Designs Consortium. They have kind of picked up the ball, put together a minimum specification criteria for LED products, and many utilities across the country actually have picked up that criteria as a component of our eligibility for their program. You should know that MaxLite is designing our products to DLC specifications. so they can be eligible for the programs in your territory that require Designing Lights Consortium. We urge you to look for others who meet the DLC specification as well. A little bit of a commercial for you now that kind of brings it all together. I want to just highlight for you today MaxLite's current line and growing current line of outdoor LED products. We have a large and a small wall pack that have a traditional wall pack look, as well as a garage lighter surface mount product. As you can see, all three have been Lighting Facts verified and carry the Lighting Facts label. All of these are using active power factor correction, and so not an issue for any utilities that are requiring that, and for any of your customers who may be concerned about smart meters coming in and being charged for power factor issues. Also makes it more robust when it comes to power fluctuations and the like. For those of you who have joined us in the past, you know that we will leave the Q&A section open for a little while for you to get in any questions or comments. This does end the audio portion of our presentation. 100% of you will receive a PowerPoint presentation, a copy of all the questions along with the answers, as well as a link to where you can stream or download the audio and video portion of the presentation today. Thank you again for coming. We do appreciate your time and your business.